A venture capitalist goes behind bars teaching entrepreneurship in San Quentin. Horatio Hartz, straight out of prison, sits down to tell us his business plan. And Chevy takes on Tesla. Can a cheap electric car create any buzz? Our reporters Chris Primusberger of eWeek and McCall Lev Ram of Fortune this week on Press Here. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott McGrew. Earlier this year, I had an extraordinary opportunity to hear from a group of entrepreneurs pitching new products. And while their ideas were good and their delivery perfect, it was quickly apparent not a single one of them was likely to break out. Every single one of those businessmen are prisoners at California's San Quentin. Murderers and thieves and addicts in a past life now working to rehabilitate themselves through entrepreneurship.
With the support of our sponsor network, HHI will turn empty lots into gardens and abandoned buildings into LEED certified fitness centers.
The program to turn prisoners into pitchmen is the brainchild of venture capitalist Chris Redlitz and his wife, Beverly Parenti. The pair teach a small group of prisoners business, from planning to profits to presentation.
Good morning. My name
culminating in this prison pitch day before real-life venture capitalists and business leaders. The ideas pitched are smart, focused, and many are fundable.
Thank you.
Chris Redlitz calls his prison program the last mile because it's that last mile between incarceration and success on the outside world, in which that trips up so many people. In his spare time, Chris is founding partner at Transmedia Capital, joined by McCall Lev Ram of Fortune, Chris Primusberger of eWeek as well. How did this start? What was the genesis of this idea?
Well, several years ago, it was about 3 years ago actually, I was invited into San Quentin to speak to a group of men about business and entrepreneurship. I had never been in a prison before, and I was intrigued by the opportunity, and really my perception of San Quentin and prisons in general was a bunch of guys there with very little hope and very little prospect for the future. So I went in very intrigued and with the idea that I'll see what happens. And I did a presentation. It was supposed to be about 30 minutes. It ended up being about 2 hours because the men were so engaged, so interested, and you know, matter of fact, some of them gave me business plans. So they were prepared. And I left the prison that night and went home to talk to Beverly. And I said, you know, there's something here. You know, we work with entrepreneurs every day in Silicon Valley, and I thought, you know, we could potentially do something in San Quentin that had some of the same effects. And she said to me, absolutely no way I'm spending time in prison. But she was open enough to do research. And we did our research, and I was a little embarrassed, frankly, about the amount that I did not know about incarceration in America, about quote-unquote rehabilitation. The fact that, you know, 25% of the entire world's incarcerated population is in the U.S. And you know, it costs us $45,000 a year per inmate. Those type of things really struck us. And then she went into San Quentin herself and met some of the men, and she was convinced, like I was.
So how does the program work now? I mean, my understanding is that you're teaching programming skills, mobile app building, and yet these inmates don't have access to a lot of technology, right?
They don't have access to any technology. So
no phones, no computers,
no, nothing. So the last mile, and I'll answer the question about coding as well, the last mile curriculum is about business entrepreneurship and teaching them business skills. And many of the guys have been incarcerated more than 10 years. So they have
pre-iPhone.
Pre-iPhone, many pre-internet.
And in case the viewer missed it, you are talking about, some of them have, you know, iPhone app business models.
Yes.
They've never seen an iPhone, and you're not allowed to bring one in either.
No. We're not.
You could a picture of an iPhone.
No, we're not.
Would be all that they would be able to see, or what they see on television.
That's right.
So why not teach them the entrepreneurship of restaurant owning? Because you can teach them to cook. Why teach them something that they can't access?
Well, I think there's two really reasons why we wanted to do that. First of all, we have a network here in Silicon Valley. This is what we do.
This is what you know.
This is what we know. This is what we do. But also, why not teach them relevant information that they can use in their application. I mean, frankly, if you had a restaurant, you'd still want to know technology. You still want to know how to do, apps and build apps and that type of thing. So we want to make sure they're educated in the very relevant, most relevant information possible. So that's really one of the reasons why.
So how are you actually doing this? Books, pen and paper? Is it all theory? And how is that taking with the first set of guys?
Yeah, so it's through books. We have 3 books that we have done the last 2 sessions. The first book, matter of fact, the guest that you have a lot on here, Guy Kawasaki, was the first author that we brought in. We asked the authors actually to come in at the end of that session when the guys had read the book, and Guy came in as our other authors have. We bring in experts in different areas. We brought someone from Foursquare in, someone from a company called Scan who talked about QR codes and image recognition. So they get this firsthand from experts. And we can bring in print information so they can get printouts of things. And we do have a DVD player so we can play DVDs. So those are some of the things we do. And the other thing is that the guys all participate in social media. So they tweet, they blog, and they're on Quora.
Via paper, though, right?
Via paper, yes.
Okay, so there's on Twitter, it's TLM, right?
That's
at
right.
TLM,
That's
the
right.
last mile.
So somebody has to do the actual tweeting for them.
Yes.
Do you
take
do it?
dictation.
No, fortunately we have volunteers, and I just want to stress that this is very volunteer-centric.
Yeah.
So Beverly and I started the program, but it is very focused on people that are passionate about helping out and volunteering. So we have people that come in. We have our staff, Jen and Julie Lefshay are our coordinators at San Quentin, and people donate their time. People upload all of the social media content. So the guys literally write it out. The first thing we started with Twitter was we created tweet sheets where they had 140 character blocks that they would fill in.
Yeah.
And we would take them out, upload them. But the bigger impact is that we actually print out comments. So when they are on Quora, they get a lot of comments, and that's super inspirational for them. So it's not as real time.
Didn't one of your guys win the Quora Answer of the Year?
He did.
What was that exactly?
Yeah, so Kenyatta Leal won the Quora Answer of the Year of all of thousands of Quora answers this past year in 2012. The question was, what does the first day of a 5+ year sentence feel like? So if you go on Quora, and all the guys have their own profiles, they're all managed and monitored by us. We do very little editing. It's what you see is what you get. But so many things are heartfelt, and it's, they answer a lot of questions that the Quora community presents to them. But it's amazing the amount of insight that you get. And now some of the Quora writing that they're doing, we're using as part of their resume as they get out. This is sample writing that they have. So it's almost like a living resume for them.
Chris, we got about a minute left. You set us up for, after the break, we're going to talk to Horacio Hartz. I met him in San Quentin. He has since been released. You met him, you sat down with him, he was part of the class of 2013. Give us your impressions of him.
Ray is this quiet confidence. He is very thoughtful. He spent his entire time incarcerated studying and preparing himself. And since he's one of the first guys to get out through our program,
right,
he feels that weight of responsibility, as all of them do. But he's doing a phenomenal job at Rally, and I mentioned this in one of the talks that I did before, where Tom Saris, the CEO of Rally, said to me, he said, what's up with Ray? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, he comes in enthusiastic and smiling every day, and he's infectious in our community, in our company. And if someone thinks they have a bad day at the company, just look at Ray.
Just look at Ray.
Right.
Chris, before we go to break, I'm going to give a quick correction to something you said. You said when he got out through our program. He
Yes.
graduated your program.
Yes.
Him getting out was not relevant.
That's right.
To your program.
That's
okay,
right.
He did not. The program didn't cause him to get out.
That's right.
All right,
Yes.
fair enough. Well, Chris Redlitz, thank you for being with us. We will sit down with Horacio Hartz when Press Here continues.